Hello there. That was a little callback to, which one was it? I think it was Star Wars Revenge of the Sith.
I don't know those ones.
I think you've never seen the prequels.
I've only seen like a little bit of the third prequel.
Well, this was like the best part. I feel like I'm sidetracking.
Yeah, exactly.
On the very first episode
one,
of Canned Worms, I am your host, Scott. Friends know me by Chez. And today I'm joined by probably one of my best friends in the entire world. Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself, bud.
My name is Nick.
So who are you? Who is Nick?
I don't even know that question.
You're still trying to find yourself at the tender age of 21.
Very much so.
Where are you from?
Inner Western Sydney.
Inner West Sydney. So
it's probably the best description I could give for that.
Are you Italian then?
Funny you ask. Yes, I am.
Fair enough. So Nick, what do you do with yourself? What do you do with your time?
I am a full-time university student. I am studying software engineering. I am also a part-time bartender.
Part-time bartender. How does hospitality suit you?
Asking the big questions here. Well, if I didn't have to work night times on a Friday and a Saturday, maybe it would be a little bit better.
What are the hours though?
8 p.m. till 4 a.m.
That's not on. That's not okay. And I've paid Nick out many times for this.
Not just you, even all of the rest of our mates have paid me out for it as well. So,
I mean, I suppose it does get the bills and more paid, but I don't know.
Just takes away from all of takes away from sleep, takes away from your energy with dealing with drunk people, it takes away from time with your family and friends, the amount of times I had to cancel on other people because I can't take too many nights off because it's Christmas time and everyone wants to throw parties, and I'm just like, I gotta be at work.
Well, that's true because you've unfortunately missed out on the numerous parties that I've thrown.
Yeah,
and it's just so unfortunate because I want everyone to be there. I want you to be there, and then even my own best mate can't attend all the parties that I throw. It's just very annoying. I don't throw that many parties, just for the record, but it's just very annoying at times.
Nah, he's a rowdy guy.
What do you do for fun, Nick?
Well, I spend a lot of alone time, but that alone time mostly equates to me listening to and discovering different types of music, me playing music as well, being a guitar player for the past 10 years, and just I'm an avid gamer. I like browsing the internet, spending hours and hours on YouTube watching dumb shit.
Yeah.
And that accumulates to most of my life at this point.
Going back to gaming, have you got Red Dead 2 yet?
No.
Are you keen for it though?
Yes.
Do you want it?
Yes.
Okay. What do you play on?
What am I playing on?
Yeah, console-wise.
Swapped over to PC now.
Master Race.
Master Race. Well, not when Red Dead 2's not on there.
No, that's right. I think, given that it's Rockstar, maybe they'll do what GTA 5 did and delay it by a year.
Maybe.
But then Red Dead 1 never went on
Exactly,
PC.
yeah. So.
Do you have any side projects going on at the moment? What's going on in your life right now?
Nothing really, just getting my life together before I start on these side projects. I'd love to, I don't know, being a software guy, I'd love to make my own games. Being a music guy, I'd love to make my own music. But at the moment, I'm just kind of still trying to find outlets at the moment, I guess. Well,
that's pretty cool, because the kind of people that I want to talk to I want them to have some element of creativity. So, Nick, you're not a complete bean, which is nice. We can talk about things.
If only everyone said that.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess I know you inside and out. Not physically inside, that would be strange.
Yeah.
But that would be a certain level of friendship that I don't know if I'm willing to take. So we'll put it at a handshake level.
Yep.
Interview me though, Nick.
Okay, so Scott, what do you do for work?
I'm a pharmacy student. I work at a couple of different pharmacies. A big retail pharmacy that we have here in Australia, which is known for disrupting the pharmacy business. My future pharmacy wages I'm going to leave it there. I've also worked in compounding as well. So I've been a compounding tech.
And how was that?
That was... The work itself was a lot of fun. But I left due to...
the environment, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I don't gel well with people who don't treat me correctly. So I feel like I'm a normal person that just doesn't gel well with just some of the worst people ever. And I'm not saying who that person is either for the sake of job security later on.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, I'm a pharmacy student. I study at the University of Sydney, and I'm in the process of finishing my second year, doing my bachelor's.
Very cool. So, Scott, what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? So, I do enjoy gaming quite a bit. I'm a PC gamer, PC Master Race. I'm a bit of a nerd. I built my own PC. I love listening to music. Favorite genres are pop punk and hip hop. And it's pretty much why I've got Nick here, because Nick and I today, we want to talk about, or just every single time we have Nick over, just talk about mainly music. I feel like we're pretty well versed in the hip-hop atmosphere. I know Nick is. He's a hip-hop guy. We also like our pop-punk too, but we know...
Slowly getting into it.
Yeah, we know. We're getting into it.
Yeah.
You know, we're reliving our angsty glory days of being young teenagers.
I'm still straight in those days.
Yeah, still... They never left. I feel like
left.
I started liking hip-hop more just because... Maybe I
Just
subconsciously felt it was uncool to like punk,
Right.
like pop punk, My Chemical Romance and stuff. But I think now that we're adults, we're in uni and stuff, we realise
It's a lot more openness.
just like
Yeah.
we can listen to whatever we want, and then there are subgenres. There's communities of people that like what you like anyway, and that's the beautiful thing about uni. You don't have those social cliques that you feel like you have to abide by when you're in high school.
Yeah.
High school's rough, but I don't want to relive.
Topic for another day, maybe.
Oh gosh, yeah, exactly. So there's a couple of things that I want to go through today. Metro Boomin has just released a new album called, I think it's just looking at Genius right now. I think it's Not All Heroes Wear Capes, and we try to listen to this stuff really quickly before we form opinions on it, because we don't want to sound silly, but then at the same time we'll probably sound silly anyway.
Yeah, for a project that we haven't spent a whole lot of time on, these are just very basic, very first impressions.
Yeah, this is our first impressions. I think I was discussing with Nick earlier that for this kind of segment we'll just talk about stuff, talk about current events, we'll talk about music, and then in a separate podcast we will actually listen through track by track albums and EPs that tickle our fancy, things that are important. And I want to link that to the fact that Metro Boomin, he's a producer, right? Mm-hmm. He's not a rapper, he's not a singer or anything like that. He's a producer. He's produced countless tracks, some of the biggest tracks that have ever been made.
Absolutely, yeah.
It started off with the famous signature, the famous catchphrase, "If young Metro don't know you,
trust you, I'm gonna shoot you."
Oh yeah, that's true. No, I've totally messed that one up. I think we should just restart the podcast right now, because I was like an idiot. Yeah, I guess that really shows where we're from. We're from Sydney. We're not American or anything like that. We just appreciate music. Yeah. I mean, I guess we can't really... We'll discuss the politics of it, but we're not going to pretend and think that it's we are that any of this...
We're not talking from a standpoint of superiority. We're just talking from a very basic sort of listener / kind of fan level where
exactly
we'll
buy a ticket to their show,
yeah,
because we appreciate the art, we appreciate the music, but we might put our opinion out there on something that might be political, but...
Yeah, and kind of talking about, music that, shapes most of the entire world and has reached a bit further than just the United States or just the western part of this world, just us being on the other side of the globe, we can still, recognize the impact that these, artists and
we can recognize, but it's also not our place to make blanket statements for other people.
Yeah. absolutely.
That's good. So, the importance, the significance of Metro Boomin releasing a full-fledged album is pretty impressive because producers don't tend to do it. Like he's a DJ, but not a DJ in the sense that like Diplo's a DJ, where he releases an album and it's like it sounds quintessentially like Diplo or Calvin Harris or something like that.
Yeah.
He creates beats for people and then they put it out as their music and stuff like that. So I'm just reading this article on Complex discussing... It says, Metro Boomin's #1 album marks a new era for producers. And I think there was a thing that in this article that was, I thought, pretty interesting. They say, pointing out Mark Ronson had his own hit album back in 2015. So I think that's... Was that post the what's his face? The guy that I hate.
Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars. Yeah, I don't like Bruno Mars at all. But
that song was on that album. Yeah, if you're...
Yes. Okay. So that song was on that album.
Yeah.
The line between performer, DJ, and producer has narrowed a little bit. More producers are in demand to play in front of big audiences. So like murder beats for like Gucci Gang, and then Big Head on the beat. They're in demand to like actually play live. So they're not really so much behind the scenes anymore. So going back to what I was saying about it, why it's important, is just like it allows producers to step more into the limelight and be more creative and let them shine a bit more. What do you think on that?
I think when you discuss all of that, the first thing I think of is like DJ Khaled.
Okay.
Because like he, whilst I'm not a huge fan of DJ Khaled, and I don't think like he has a lot of reach with his music, he's certainly at like the forefront of the music that he releases. Personally though, I do like when, you know, these producers and people like Metro Boomin and Mike will make albums by themselves, released by them. I kind of do like that because
it kind of adds to their credibility.
It adds to their credibility, and I feel like producers don't get that credibility. Like, I totally 100% feel like, you know, the structure of an artist is owed a lot to, you know, their producers. Like, when I remember a couple of years ago, Hobson made this dumb track called No Words, and it was like talking about, you know, rappers these days, they're so like they're not even rapping words, and like just saying stuff like it's just, and like saying on the side that, you know, it's just the production on these tracks, like that's the selling point for these albums, and then these rappers are just, you know, rocking up to the studio an hour late, high as on weed or lean or something else, and just mumbling and doing a half-ass effort and saying, yep, it's done, the producer can fix it up for me, and then the rapper's just getting all the credibility for the song and the producer's getting next to nothing.
Well, producers can make or break the track.
Yeah, absolutely.
The flow can be absolutely terrible by a rapper, but if the beat's good enough to I suppose support the rapper's vocals,
yeah,
I think it can still turn into a fire track. And we're going to go into that. We're going to go... Well, actually, on Metro Boomin's album that we listened to, there was the track 21... the first track that featured 21 Savage was... what was it? It was...
Don't Come Out the House.
Don't Come Out... Well, yeah, Don't Come Out the House. And, like, we were listening to 21 Savage. As soon as 21 Savage came on, it was like... it's not... It's like... Well, 21 Savage generally doesn't produce stuff that we like.
I guess in a general sense, we're not huge fans of 21, just because... and
it's just so lazy.
Yeah, it's kind of lazy. Like,
it's so lazy.
I don't deny, like, the topics that he talks around is very, like, a dark kind of rapping personality, but, you know, a lot of his tracks, they don't have a lot of...
There was not a single beat on here that sounded bad.
Absolutely. For this album, yeah, the production from Metro, you know, as always, it's stellar. But
it's great. And that's what you
But
expect.
it couldn't, but sometimes for some of these tracks, some of these artists couldn't even say them.
Yeah, some of them couldn't save them. I think the beat that saved one of the 21 Savage tracks was 10 Freaky Girls. I think we were listening to it, and then we were listening to it, and we're like, oh, this is really chill. This doesn't make sense for 21 Savage. But then the beat changed, and then
it started out as like kind of like a, you know, sort of softer love song
R&B
kind of thing,
type
and then
thing.
just
and then 21 came on.
21
the beat
comes
changed
in and the beat switches
to accommodate for 21 Savage's lackluster performance.
Kind of makes you think, did Metro Boomin maybe change the way that the song was produced just to accommodate for 21 Savage? Like maybe...
Yeah, probably.
Maybe...
I mean, you wouldn't
Huge conspiracy theory, but maybe like the song was like originally supposed to be like how it was in the beginning. Did 21 rap over it just as he did, and Metro decided, nah, we got to drop it down just for this guy?
Look, he would
Seems
be a
like a
bad
stretch.
producer if he didn't do that.
Yeah.
So, hats off to Metro for
That seems like a bit of a
saving
stretch.
it. So going on to 10 Freaky Girls, the reason why I find this so funny, it's just like the lyrics are so dumb.
Yeah.
There's this one part in the lyrics that I'm just looking at right now. Selling her the JJ got a barcode. Uh-oh. These broke ass fellas, I'm not going to say the N-word, fellas need job co. 21. Used to use EBT to get seafood. What? Now I Uber Eats when I want Kiku. Okay, so some of this stuff, since we are Australian, just don't understand. But it just sounds very strange. So 21 Savage is rapping about pimping out women who are so popular with his clients that she needs a barcode. So how do you feel about that lyric? Are you pro-misogyny?
Very not so.
Here on the Candworms podcast, we are not pro-misogyny. But how do you feel about why does rap get a free pass? And we're listening to it and we go, oh yeah, this is fun to listen to. And then there's that meme where it goes, listening to like people killing each other and taking drugs as I drive to my 9-to-5 job. Why does rap get a free pass?
Why does rap get a free pass? I think it's always been like, it seems to me like it's always been part of that kind of culture. Always been part of that culture to be, you know, to talk about issues of violence and kind of misogynistic things, and it's always been a part of hip hop, you know, from the violent standpoint, you know, back from, you know, NWA back in like the early 90s that started that movement. From the misogynistic standpoint, like I'm thinking 2 Live Crew from like way back in the day, like they've always been like a very solid part of the ground roots of where hip hop was and where it stood back in those days. And so even now, it's, you know, those situations still stand out to people. And I think like for those periods, because I was watching, have you seen on Netflix, there's this show called Hip Hop Evolution.
No, I haven't.
And so it talks about like a lot of like the origins of rap. And that's a lot of what I feed off. I really like listening to music, like going onto Genius and looking at like the behind the scenes of like, not just songs that just come out, but like sort of like the classical sort of hip hop songs. I was watching one of these ones back in the day, which talked about, you know, 2 Live Crew and them talking their songs where they start singing about, you know, going like not just clubbing and like violence and stuff like that, but really like misogynistic, like, you know, just calling up hookers to come around to your place and just bang the crap out of you, and you just, you know, doing completely nasty things to them that I'm not going to mention on this podcast. And like at the time there was such a huge backlash from it, and the United States government like tried to, you know, ban that stuff completely.
Yeah, right. Like
you think
in the movie The Boat That Rocked, have you seen that one?
I have not.
It's an English movie about how the government tried to shut down this illegal broadcasting. It was a radio channel that was being broadcast from a boat on the shores of the English shores, and they were playing like rock music and things like that, but 24/7. And the BBC at the time only played it like once a day for like 1 hour, and so like. Yeah, I see what you mean. Like,
yeah, I think like
it was not accepted.
Yeah, the fact that like they weren't accepted, and like those issues like that, they weren't accepted to be on songs and on radio play.
Yeah,
and they tried to be like basically illegalized. Like people were trying to break this sort of industry and try and say no, you can't be rapping or singing about that. And the fact that they won these cases, and the fact that they've gone on to say screw you, we'll make whatever music we want, that's still like a very much a big part of where hip hop and even rock music still stands.
That was the
nowadays.
point. Yeah, that was the point of hip hop. That was the point of rock music, to like discuss these MA plus like themes.
And I think it still is. It's just
maybe
these rappers and artists, they don't exactly think about it, but they love how we as people can sing along to or rap along to songs that may not necessarily be part of our lives, but just are just fun to talk about because we don't really get to in a normal type of life. But not just that,
actually it is part of like a lot of people's lives. The stuff that they... Okay, so hip-hop started off with, I think some of the very first groups were Sugar Hill Gang and Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
Yeah.
But they never discussed this kind of raw stuff because they were just starting out and they wanted to be successful and things like that. They wanted to abide by the white man radio.
Yeah.
They had to talk about, which is often joked about, walking to the store to get some milk and things like that. Sounds silly at first, but then that's where they started off in like introducing hip hop beats, and then eventually, as it was starting to get accepted, other people from ghetto areas in the US, they wanted to express how it really was like growing up with all that crime around, and rap was, that was the black man's music, and black people were listening to it, black people were making it, so why can't black people talk about how it really is in real life on the streets, like where they live in these neighborhoods. That was the point. And in the name of art, like surely in the name of art you should be able to explore anything. Now there's a clause to that because there's snuff films and things like that, which are technically art, but it's like some of the most horrific stuff. Rap, like we listen to rap because like it's art at the end of the day. But it's still not totally accepted. Like I'm too scared to like listen to hip hop back at my parents' place out loud because I know that my parents don't really accept it. They don't like that at all, with the explicit lyrics and what they talk about and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's like it's the argument with video games, violence in video games. Like it doesn't cause you to be that kind of person.
No, if you were that kind of person from the outset, then you would have those problems. But that's a whole other can of worms.
Can of worms, exactly. I feel like this is going to catch on. All right, so there was that song by Metro Boomin, 10 Freaky Girls. There was another one. So dumb.
Well, for the song, I really feel like Savage's flow wasn't awful. Like, I feel like the flow fit the song.
I remember talking about this,
But lyric content is just stereotypical to what Savage always raps about. And just, the misogynistic side to it. The, I'm a better person than you. Like, you're a rookie, I'm a vet. That's why I got a Glock, you got a tech. Like, I'm bigger than you, blah, 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 blah. Heard it 100 times before, nothing original. Like...
oh, my voice cracked there.
Beautiful.
Another song that we thought was just absolutely insanely dumb was Lesbian featuring Young Thug and Gunna. The chorus is eloquently put by Gunna. I fell in love with a lesbian. Yeah, came to knock on your door, baby, let me in. Let me in. I should have learned my lesson then. I didn't want to keep going. I was hesitant. Didn't want to keep going. I tried to ignore the evidence, ignore it, but I'm gonna trust myself. Ain't no better than. Bought the Rolly two-tone, like the president. and it ain't been no back and forth ever since.
You see, like, with that entire chorus, like, the entire thing, like, okay, first of all, it's a dumb kind of topic to talk about.
Really
but the last two lines, he just completely goes off topic, and it just goes straight back to being just your stereotypical, just rap song about, you know,
like, where
having
did the
more than you.
Rolly come in?
Yeah, like, if they made a song about literally falling in love with a lesbian and just, like, rolling with it and making, like, an entire sort of storytelling rap song about what happened, I would listen to that.
See, this is why we also listen to punk, because when you... Typically, with punk music or any angsty kind of music like that, they'll actually make a proper story out of it.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, which is so much fun to listen to. And then the problem I find with a lot of rap, not all, because there's some rap where the lyrics they go into it and they make a proper story out of it. That's great. But then this is like oh, like it was silly, it was fun, and then you kind of ruined it with the whole going off topic thing. Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, like, Thugger's verse isn't too bad, but, you know, it just doesn't have anything to do with, like, the song topic and everything else. I really do like storytelling rap. Like, you think about, go back to, Eminem's Stan, the song from, like, the story out of that, and, like, rappers nowadays, like, well, biggest examples, but most stereotypical examples, I'd say, would probably be, like, J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar. Like, J. Cole with
Stories.
Wet Dreams, or Through Adolescence, For Your Eyes Only, songs like that, where he just goes completely just rapping about whatever, like, a specific topic. I love those songs. Like, I feel like if you write a story well enough and put it into, you know, a form of poetry, that's can make for some fantastic storytelling and, like, some really good quality songs. But, like,
100%.
I've gone off topic here, but just I kind of just wish these guys would, like, stay on topic with their music.
What were any standout tracks to you on this album?
I guess the standout for me is Overdue.
Overdue,
Travis
yeah,
Scott.
that was really good.
Yeah,
anything with Travis Scott and I felt Sway Lee was really, like, it was, like, solid on this album.
The one with the one.
And then
with
Dreamcatcher with Sway Lee and Travis Scott, that was pretty good.
Dreamcatcher was very good as well. Scott has done very well on this album, admittedly, but he always pulls through. I mean, I don't normally listen to Scott a lot up until recently, but can't deny that the guy has his rapping chops and he knows how to make, like, a good vibe on a song.
Yeah, definitely. He's really, I guess, he's really grown on me lately, because I didn't like Antidote a few years back. I thought I wasn't into it, because it was all that kind of, like, new wave, kind of SoundCloud type sounding stuff, and so that wasn't really what I was all about. That was back when I was listening to pretty much only Eminem and Kendrick.
Yeah.
And I still love them, but, like, I didn't really listen to Eminem much, ever, and Kendrick I still listen to him, just not as much as I was before.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually listening to not 21 Savage, that guy, Travis Scott, and Post Malone. I love him. We're a big fan of the Post.
Yeah, I'm getting into Posty now as well. But I only just listened to the Stoney album in full last night, actually.
Really? Yeah. That was great. That's like one of my favorite albums.
After all this time, I only ever listened to Stoney last night.
That's why you have to take... okay, well, how did you find Stoney?
I find that compared to Bebongs and Bentleys, that it was a lot... most of the songs sounded very more centralized in the way that they sound. Like, I'm not sure if I prefer it. I think between them, I don't. It's a little bit too early for me to say.
Okay.
But I will say that Stoney is a lot more stripped back than what Beer Bongs is.
Okay.
And that, although there are a lot of fantastic songs on Stoney, I will say.
I like every single song on Stoney. I can listen through the whole thing just fine. In fact, on my playlist, the whole thing's on there. I think my favorite track is probably Patient.
Yeah, I'd say Patient is my favorite as well.
I mean, I've played that to you many times.
Yeah.
Why is because in the chorus, there's this line in there that I know it's not that profound, but I think I really like it a lot. He says, "Used to be so damn patient, but now it's you pay me." I mean, yeah, the guy started off like with nothing in the context. Like he moved to LA to live with his like best friend, like on the couch. With actually, like, in terms of, like, money, he said he didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, take everything with a grain of salt, but Post Malone is, I know he's a very likable guy.
Yeah.
So I feel like, surely he has no reason to lie. But, you know, if you know, we choose to believe what they say, if there's no conflicting evidence. And, you know, he made a bunch of YouTube videos as well. And he waited a long time before he got picked up on SoundCloud for White Iverson, which I love. I'd heard of Post Malone before, but I think I made the mistake of judging a book by its cover too quickly because I saw, you know, like a white guy with grills and cornrows. I thought, this doesn't really look like my cup of tea. But then I saw him on Sean Evans' Hot Ones interview.
That's where you introduced me to him.
I saw Post Malone and I just thought, this is such a likable guy. He's really, really funny. And what sold me was when I think Sean asked him what his favourite video game is. And he said Skyrim. And that's like my favourite video game. Yeah. I thought, okay, I definitely have to check this guy out. So I listened to White Iverson, and the second I listened to it, I fell in love with it straight away. Didn't require like a second listen to. I thought it was amazing. Listened to Stoney, I thought that was amazing. So I'm a big Post Malone fan. In fact, we're seeing him next year. Mm-hmm. Very excited for that.
Yeah, that'll be good.
He'll be pulling up. I think May?
Yeah, it's in May.
Insane. Very expensive as well.
Yeah. I'd say for the Stoney album, I like probably half of the songs on here.
Half the songs, right.
I don't really like Broken Whiskey Glass or Deja Vu.
Oh, I love Deja Vu.
I don't like Go Flex.
Okay, Go Flex. I like that one. Well, I like them all, so I won't comment.
But all the other ones, I kind of do like Patient, I love. I Fall Apart, White Iverson, of course. Yeah. Big Lie. Yeah, I've listened to that a lot more recently. Too Young as well. So those ones stand out to me, and I feel like there are probably more hits on Stoney than there were on Beer Bongs. So
yeah, I think so.
I give props to that.
I think so as well. But yeah.
We got extremely sidetracked. We should go back.
Very sidetracked. What were we talking about? We're still on Metro Boomin?
Going back to Metro Boomin.
Biggest complaint is no complaints, I would say. I think, based off these Genius lyrics views, most people, 517,000 people, have looked at No Complaints, featuring Drake and Offset. So he's easily the biggest person on the whole track list. Drake is on it with Offset.
Well, just the biggest rapper so far in this timeline at the moment.
Yeah, next would be Travis Scott, but like, yeah, Drake is the biggest one, probably in the world right now.
Yeah.
That song was so dead.
Yeah, I feel like Offset could have done a lot more.
Way too repetitive.
Yeah, it was too repetitive, and he was just too shallow on the chorus. I feel like if he had kind of a different flow and he was just, you know, rapping a little bit more in that chorus and had a little bit more meat on these bones, then that would probably save it enough to get to, you know, to get to the chorus and to get to his verse and to get to Drake's verse. But even then, Drake lately with his rap songs, he's starting to, you know, pull back a lot on content and just go for, you know, just doing what a lot of other young rappers are doing, which is just, you know, taking these same sort of very minimalistic lines and verses and just filling them with ad-libs, which, you know, is okay, but I value an artist that uses a bit more lyricism in his lines.
Yeah.
So
going to Drake with his latest venture, Scorpion. He's been producing like one thing a year.
Yeah.
And like this is
one a year since 2015.
25 tracks on Scorpion.
I feel like with Drake nowadays, probably ever since Views, I feel like Drake is trying to accomplish a much wider audience. I feel like ever since Views came out, or since Views came out,
Yeah.
and even before that, he's trying to go for a more mainstreamy audience, but he's still trying to cover more fronts for everyone to listen to. So he's trying to make more radio hits, obviously.
He's like a factory. He's just
think about, like, you know, going back to what One Dance and Passion Fruit,
but they were fun though.
They
were actually good. We actually like them.
Yeah, not too bad.
Not In My Feelings, but like Passion Fruit was great. That's such a good party banger.
Yeah.
Based off this track list, I think my picks for Scorpion are, so obviously there's God's Plan. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I really like. I think my favorite off this whole thing is Mob Ties.
Yeah, mine as well.
So much fun to listen to. I know I didn't even like In My Feelings.
Yeah, me neither.
Like, I don't know.
Just to what I was saying before, like he's trying to make mainstreamy songs, but he also is trying to make like actual rap songs for, like, you know, his sort of harder audience. Like he's making songs for, you know, like his fellow, you know, black audience that kind of lives in the ghetto and is hustling. He's trying to make songs for, you know, girls to listen to.
Yeah, so
like he's trying to make songs for mums to listen to in the car. Like he's trying to do
everything. Songs to listen to when you bring a lady friend home, like that kind of stuff as well.
He really wants to cover all fronts, and I feel like that's the reason why his albums are just so long and bloated with material.
Yeah, because if you cover all fronts, then you make more money as well.
Kind of,
because you're reaching that audience that you're saying. And then you can just pick and choose from his album to add to a party playlist, which is what I do anyway.
Yeah.
Nice for What?
Nice for What? That absolutely.
Bangs.
Yep.
That's great, with a really awesome music video.
You really do like I'm Upset as well, don't you?
Okay, yeah, so I hated it when it first came out. Because I listened to it, I think, was it on YouTube or SoundCloud when it first came out?
Must have been SoundCloud, I think,
or
YouTube.
So. And then, like, I linked the thing, and it was like it came out with God's Plan. Yes, it came out at the same time. God's Plan and I'm Upset.
Was it?
No, it didn't.
No, it wasn't God's Plan. It was the Duppy freestyle. It was
that's right.
It was the diss. It was the diss to Pusha T. Can't talk.
But yeah, no. Wait, what song are we talking about again? I'm Upset. Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't like it when it first came out, and then I think it required a couple more listens to a few weeks later. But the problem I had with it was, and I still have the problem now, but I don't let it get to me, I guess. Letting music get to me. What is he even talking about? Like, what's the point of it? He's clearly rapping about something. I don't know. I'm going to pull up the lyrics real quickly as I think, but I don't know, like, what's he even going on about?
I think it's just his typical sort of ranty sort of songs where he's talking about things that are happening in his life and things he's not happy about. Which is something that he's, you know, he's been famous for it. He's been doing it all these years. But I feel like the structure of the song, the beat is very basic and weird, and his flow on it is just very empty and just... Like I said with these other songs, he's taking this sort of minimalistic approach, just not talking, like, really just letting the beat ride out, and, you know, just not saying a lot, like, I'm upset, 50,000 on my neck is disrespect. Like,
well, the chorus is 50,000 on my
little
head
to it.
Disrespect. Like, I'm just trying to think of it metaphorically as well, because it sounds like a bounty. 50,000 on my head is disrespect. So offended that I had to double check. I'ma always take the money over sex. That's why they need me out the way. What you expect?
I don't mind his lyrics, but I think his flow is that he's trying to prioritize the beat here. But the beat is very, very empty, and it doesn't have anything with it.
Deeper with this, because this is some, like, real stuff.
I really do like Drake's deeper cuts. Like, Do Not Disturb from what was it? More Life. Yeah. You With Me. Like, I don't mind it when he goes in, like, actually goes in his feelings and talks about things that are on his mind. Yeah, I like when rappers do that, but not like...
And he can pull it off as well. But, like, there's also, like, more lyrics in I'm Upset where that's totally, like, a gateway for him to, like, go deeper. It's like, thankful for the women that I know, can't go 50-50 with the hoe. So, like, if he gets married, no prenup. And, like, if you're gonna go in a relationship with someone, I guess, like, don't go into it just for the money or something like that. Every month I'm supposed to pay her bills and get her what she wants. I think he's complaining about that.
Yeah, of course.
He's saying he doesn't want that to happen. And then my dad still got child support from 91.
Yeah.
Like, you can go way deeper into that, but then he just touched on it and then he doesn't go anymore. Which is, come on, man. You can do more.
Yeah.
More.
I feel like just the beat itself is the biggest losing point for here. Like, you could have swapped this out for such a better produced song, and I think maybe it would have made an impact. Like a song that's not so flat, like a beat that's not so flat and not so monotonous.
I actually like the beat, but I don't see how it's flat. Okay, but the saving grace for this song was the music video. Have you seen that?
I did not.
I do
know there was a Degrassi reunion.
The only thing that I never obviously we're Australian, so we never really watched Degrassi ever.
Not really.
But
the only saving grace, you see replays on like ABC2 at like 8:30 at night.
Okay, yeah, we're not gonna. That's like way past our bedtime anyway. So. No. In Australia, we eat dinner at 5 p.m. and we're in bed by 6:30.
Yep.
That's how it works.
Otherwise, the job bears get you.
Correct, because we.
And the spiders and the snakes and everything else.
That's correct. That's when they're asleep.
Yep.
So we should also be asleep when that happens.
Yep.
Wait, or maybe we should be up when they're sleeping.
No, they come out at dark. They come out at night time.
Oh yes, no, that's true. The only good thing about that video to me, I identified with, was Jay and Silent Bob were featured in that, which is very, very cool.
That'd be a cool concept for a video, but for something like this, I just feel like...
Well, people complained. People just said it was nostalgia porn. Because this was post the diss track that Pusha T put out on him. He waited 3 weeks, and then he put out this one. He didn't respond to Pusha T. We'll go into the whole Pusha T thing in another time, because that deserves its own segment.
Yeah, of course.
But that was his, basically, clapback to people who were waiting on him to say something. He never did, and then he put this out using what people are claiming nostalgia porn to get people back on his side.
I think so, yeah, because the song came out before Push's response to his diss.
That's right, yeah.
But then the music video came out after the album came out, I think.
Maybe. I think so, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm
anyway.
not sure. Okay, so moving on to complex news now for music. Drake asks for info on his net worth to not be included in upcoming trial. You familiar with the trial that's happening?
Absolutely, I'm
Big
not.
people like these guys, they're always in legal trouble and stuff like that. It's nothing important. This is, still important when it comes to intellectual property. It's still important, but in 2014, this company, publishing company called Hebrew Hustle, and the jazz musician Jimmy Smith's estate, they sued Drake for allegedly sampling one of Smith's songs on the track Pound Cake.
I think I know what that one is, yeah.
Drake countersued the company, alleging that they used his face and name on their website to imply a connection between the company and the rapper. So, you can tell Drake's lawyers just, clap back with some crappy legal suit or something like that.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Drake probably wasn't even in the know at the time. But, so Drake says, according to The Blast, Drake filed to have all evidence of his financial condition or comparative wealth kept away from the jury. He worries that the information would prejudice the jury against him. If you were in that jury and you had someone that was, filthy rich in front of you...
But I feel like it's different with Drake, because it's not just some CEO who's just made a bunch of money. He's he's an artist, and he has a lot of reach in the world. He's a multi-millionaire / probably billionaire, but people know who he is. People know what songs he makes. People know the things that he's done.
It's harder to hide your wealth.
Yeah.
So, people can kind of guess, oh, well, $1 million to him is not that bad. But then at the same time, aren't you just... If you're letting it be known that you don't want how much you make, be known to the jury, aren't you literally just... Isn't that reverse psychology? Like, you're then letting people know... It's like, when you say, please stop dissing me on the internet, and then you're just going to attract more people to diss you.
Like, it's no secret that Drake is a very rich person and has a lot of reach to him, but...
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I feel like it doesn't make much of a difference, and maybe Drake is putting, like, some of that down. Like, maybe Drake is not doing... Maybe you're right about this. Maybe it is reverse psychology, because, you know, people know that Drake has a lot of money, and obviously more than the people that are suing him. So...
Yeah.
Maybe this might not work out well for him, in my mind.
Oh, well, whatever. Everyone knows who Drake is. Next article. Former 6ix9ine, Tekashi 6ix9ine, associate, so one of his associates, has been arrested over the kidnapping and robbery incident. So remember when Tekashi 6ix9ine got kidnapped?
No.
He actually got kidnapped a few months ago. And this happened shortly around
I really
the same
don't
time.
I really don't pay a lot of attention to 6ix9ine, so...
Well, what are your thoughts on the guy? I think he's a scumbag because he's a horrible person that beats women.
Sums up my opinions as well. But his music is also pretty... I'm not going to say trashy because, like, you know, it's different. He's doing something different, but, like, I can't get around it.
At first, I hated it, but I think the more I listen to it, and I think under the right conditions and stuff, I actually kind of don't mind it. I'll play it ironically, but then Nick knows. The second I start listening to something ironically, like Drake back in the day, I listened to so much Drake, he ended up being like one of my favorite rappers of all time. So I'm worried if I accidentally play Tekashi 6ix9ine a bit too much, I may like him, but which is why I'm forcing myself not to, because I'll go into this in just a second, but I'll continue with the article. So he got kidnapped, actually, which is pretty insane. Same deal as Kim Kardashian when she got kidnapped.
Yeah.
He basically, this was a member of 6ix9ine's management team before the rapper got big, and he's been arrested, but then he's also pled not guilty. But the thing is, you got to think to yourself, if it was an inside job, surely, and he's a former associate, he's still not an associate of his, I reckon there must have been a big falling out.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a big falling out.
Has to be.
And he hated 6ix9ine so much he felt the need to kidnap him, which is absolutely horrible. It's not deserved.
It's not deserved.
Despite all the horrible things that Tekashi 6ix9ine has done. I'll let you guys Google all the horrible things that 6ix9ine has done, but oh well. What I find absolutely hilarious is 6ix9ine, after the rapper got out of hospital, he called into DJ Academic's Twitch stream and said that the robbery was orchestrated by people who knew him, right? Which goes well with the fact that this former associate got arrested.
Yeah.
Right? So you know, 6ix9ine, as insane and few brain cells as he has, he may be telling the truth. Obviously, with these guys,
it kind of makes sense.
Well, I want to read
being a former
said.
Associate and everything. Like, yeah, it sounds like there must have been some sort of disagreement within them. He being let go of the company, and he wanted to take out his anger a little bit, or something, or get like remunerated for his work, something along those lines.
What he said to DJ Academic, one of the funniest things I've ever heard. But you know, you got to think like, oh, poor guy, he's been kidnapped, he's out of hospital. But he said, it was an inside job. It wasn't no outside, fellas. It's fellas that know how the King of New York moves. You know what I'm saying? The only person that can get a pharaoh in Egypt is the person who helped build the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? The fella that's right next to him. The fella that know who built it, that got the blueprints.
I think he's just trying to sound a lot smarter than he really is.
Yeah, and he's trying to get a little bit deep with that, you know.
Have you heard about
the person with the blueprints? Oh well.
Have you heard about him being shot at on the Kanye West set?
Yeah, I heard about that. I was reading it. I think it was supposed to be a music video shoot with Nicki
Kanye.
Minaj as well.
And Nicki, yeah.
And I think Kanye was on the scene at the time, and he left as soon as 911 got called, and then Nicki wasn't on the scene, but there was a bullet that actually went into her dressing room.
Right.
So yeah, 6ix9ine has beefed up his security since the incident. Oh, there's a link to the article now as well. But yeah, dude, that's messed up. That's like the only reason that's actually stopping me from ever wanting to visit the US.
Yeah.
It's literally, that's the only reason why. Because it's, people might say, oh, you're being pedantic and stuff, like, you're not going to get shot at. But, I mean...
There's a lot of crap that's been going on. Like, aside from all these, you know, all these school shootings and rapper, you know, showdowns and things like that, just people, you know, having that sort of access to a weapon, and people, you know, just maybe not being in the right mind or being in the right state to be able to use them, but still being able to. Like, it's a very dangerous thing, and it's something that we haven't grown up with and we haven't been accustomed to. So there's probably a lot to it that, you know, we don't understand, but it does sound pretty scary.
What was I going to say? I wanted to say, how do you feel about when you listen to a person's track, like when you listen to someone's music, you're supporting them, you know, they get royalties when you stream on like Spotify or something.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about supporting someone that you know has done bad things, like abused women? In this case, what did 6ix9ine do? He's on 4 years probation for charges related to his arrest for the use of a child in a sexual performance. So he's clearly not a good guy. How do you feel about listening to playing one of 6ix9ine's songs, or even playing one of
think about like XXXTentacion.
XXXTentacion. That was the biggest one. I was gonna say Chris Brown.
That's
a big one.
R. Kelly.
Like, how do you, like? I don't know, man. Like,
it's hard to justify.
It's disgusting what they've done.
It's not easy to support like people that you know have done, you know, terribly. Although I still like admittedly listen to songs from Chris Brown, or songs where Chris Brown has been featured on, or songs
because sometimes they're so good.
Sometimes
at the end of the day, it's art.
It sucks how, you know, like they're, you know, these people have done bad things, but they can still make good music. Sometimes you really do need to separate the art from the artist. Like sometimes you can leave them in the same lane and think, oh yeah, this is, you know, and think that's fine to do. But for some of these other ones,
yeah,
it really is just up to the user, and, you know, just how much they do or don't want to support an artist like that. Like, I've heard the argument of, oh, if you like someone's music but you don't like to support them as a person, like, just torrent or illegally download it and listen to it like that. But I think in the age of streaming and, like, you know, Spotify and Apple Music and music being so accessible nowadays, that just, you know, takes a whole back route out of, you know, how you normally listen to music. And it's actually just, it doesn't sound like more effort, but it really is.
Yeah.
So it's hard to justify, and it's hard to draw the line. Like, oh, I hate this guy, but I can't be bothered just listening to his music so that he doesn't get royalties, so I might as well keep listening through Spotify.
What I do is, so I'm conscious to a degree. Like, obviously, I don't want to be total social justice warrior with the music that I listen to, but so a big one. I know that XXXTentacion isn't a good guy, so I did my best to... I didn't listen to the full album, the full question mark album that he put out before he died. But I did hear through other like media platforms and stuff, what was that big song that I like playing? Sad.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough song to listen to because it's talking about suicide so like nonchalantly.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a great song. But that's the only one that I'll listen to. I won't go out of my way to play through the whole album. Chris Brown the same. I only ever listen to him like on Waves, Kanye's track from Life of Pablo. Yeah. I think that's so fun. Yeah. I love that song so much. I'm not gonna mourn them. So when X died, you saw how much like mourning there was for him. You know, there were like riots in the streets for his death and stuff like that. And I thought, like, guys, like, I get it. You're mourning him because his music was so profound to you in the short time that it was out. But, like, I feel he's caused so much pain to a lot of people that I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It's like disregarding what he's done.
It's tough for me to put a finger on those feelings as well, because I feel like X had done a few pretty terrible things.
Yeah.
But from what I was getting in his music from both the 17 album and the Question Mark album, which was so completely different from the songs that he did before, where he was like, you know, think about Look at Me and other songs like that, where he
Can't
goes
keep in my pants.
like where he's like, he's so over the toply violent and the songs are so loud, and all of a sudden he's changing pace to like acoustic albums where he's just singing about, you know, how much pain he's in and what he's trying to do to, you know, stay alive and keep himself from, you know, dying. I feel like a lot of what he said like related to people, and I feel like he might have done some bad things, but I think he really was trying to repent, both for himself and for the people around that he was hurting. That's why I'm not too opposed to listening to some of X's songs. I like the quality of his music, that's a whole different thing, but I don't feel like he was as terrible as a lot of people said, and I can see why a lot of people were sticking to his side. We're trying to not exactly justify what he was doing, but trying to, you know, help him get out of the rut that he originally put himself in, and saying, you might not be perfect, but we're supporting you through the changes that you're trying to do and through the growth that you're trying to make.
Well, that's pretty well put there. I think probably the last topic that is so juicy that we are both very emotional and vocal about is Kanye. We are
Mr. West.
avid fans of Kanye. We love Kanye so much, and the great thing about Kanye is that he's actually attracted the attention of so many people that aren't even into hip hop to start with. Because he's so versatile and he's so like amazing as an artist.
He's very dedicated to what he's trying to do.
But I'm just so angry with him right now. So angry. He continues to crap on his fans. With all these false promises and the kind of music he's putting out. The start of his demise, his downfall, would probably start off with Life of Pablo, I think. I love that album. I really like Life of Pablo, but then after that, that's when you could tell he was starting to lose it. Yeah,
although I feel like this goes back a little bit further. I feel like his first 3 albums, you know, College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, fantastic. And very well produced. Then he goes into 808. He changes up his style a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe not as good as the albums before that, but, you know, still pretty good. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Everyone loves that album.
Yep.
And then
Yeezus
kind of tries to go down.
Thing. Yeah, that was pretty lackluster. Yeezus.
Yeah, I feel like...
I mean, you had Black Skinhead.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I kind of get sidetracked, but I feel like it was kind of after graduation and after both the death of his mother and also like when he started to go a little bit off kilter in the media.
Yeah, which may genuinely be
first of all, I'm thinking his comment of George Bush doesn't care about black people, and him trying to, him trying to go into, you know, that type of topic. I think about
What do you think about, Nick?
I think about how Graduation, he beat out, who was it, 50 Cent for like the biggest rap artist of the year back then, and like at that point he was like the biggest rapper in the world, and then he starts changing that sort of perspective on what it means to, be a rap artist. And he starts, he's at the top of his game there. And that's where he starts to change the game. And that's where he starts to, make all these changes to his music and just go away from rap completely. And then also just going on to starting his political tirades back then.
That was very bad.
But, we can
both...
both...
Good. Made a lot of people angry. Now, look, we're not going to hold someone to their political beliefs. I think that's really stupid.
But we should probably come a lot forward to After the Life of Pablo.
Yeah, so the reason why I'm angry with him, it actually has nothing to do with like his support for Trump. Like, we're Australian, like we don't care.
Not really.
I mean, like, look, we do care because we know that Australia is a bit of a cuck when it comes to to America, and they'll just follow anything that America does. But what we're... And yeah, I mean, we know at the end of the day, Kanye's not really going to have much of an influence over people when it comes to politics. Like, it can anger people, but like, it's not really... I don't think that it's going to have much of an impact. I think his words are generally harmless.
Yeah.
And he's received lots of backlash for it, so like, yeah, he's not gonna... He's pretty harmless with that. It's just infuriating to the blue blood American.
Yeah.
Okay, so his projects this year so far. I'm disappointed. What was it? I Hate Being Bipolar. It's awesome.
Okay, the album was actually called Yay.
Oh, it was Yay. Yes, that's right. It was Yay.
Did like the first 3 songs from that album. The rest of them I couldn't really agree with. Like the 4th one where he's singing about, I think it's called Never Left or something like that. When he's talking about, Wouldn't Leave. Where he's talking about, all the shit that he was doing in regards to his wife, Kim Kardashian, and like, him doing all this outrageously crazy dumb shit, and then her just like refusing, not wanting to leave his side. Like, I kind of like the sentiments of that album, but I feel like it's more sort of just him allowing himself to keep doing dumb shit and feeling like he can get away with it. I feel like it's not his music and what he's been doing nowadays that's been caught in the backlash, but just how he's been treating other people.
How he treats his fans is what I'm really angry about. Nick knows all about this, but so with the Yay album, there's only one song that I thought was catchy. It was it's the one with the catchy...
All Mine.
Yeah.
Everyone loves that song.
See, that's fun, I guess, but I listened to it on my break at work. I was so excited with the day it came out. I had a half an hour for lunch. I listened to it because it's such a short album. I was able to listen through the whole thing. And I almost cried. I almost cried in disappointment because I thought, we've lost him. We've lost him. Now, that may not be his fault. I mean, whether or not it's diagnosed as bipolar disorder, we don't know. But that's also why I cry, because, like, that's one of our greats. Just inflicted with that. And it's horrible. I heard every single track, and then the track that also made me like the most distraught was I Think About Killing You.
I Thought About Killing You.
I Thought About Killing You.
He spends the first half of that song just saying stuff over and over. Like, he's talking to himself when he says that stuff. When he says, "Today I thought about killing you," so premeditated.
He's talking about himself, right?
Like because there's him and then there's his bipolar self, and he's kind of talking to the bad side of him, like saying I thought about killing... But it doesn't really make sense because you're like, I thought about killing you, and I thought about killing myself, and I love myself way more than I love you. So best believe I thought about killing you. Like, doesn't exactly make sense. But then again, we can't really see into his mind. I think my biggest criticisms in his music making is the fact that he's making albums that are so short.
It's kind of like it sounds rushed.
Yeah.
Like the album cover.
Think about
the album cover. You hear about how they did it. Literally on the way to the listening
studio,
party in Wyoming.
He just took it on his phone. Seriously.
That Comic Sans stuff on the front.
No, it was from the Kids See Ghosts album.
Yeah.
I think from the song Fourth Element. I love that song. I feel like the instrumental is fantastic. But
it's a
like
better
at the
album with Kid Cudi.
Yeah, at the very end of that song, like he plays this sample of like people discussing music and saying, "Oh, you got to make the songs really short. Like they only need to be 2 minutes and 30 seconds." And I'm thinking, well, Kanye has pretty much done that for the last couple of albums that he's been both making for himself and producing. Like I think about the Nas album he produced, the Pusha T album, his album, the Cudi album.
Yeah.
He's basically just making songs that mainstream hip hop wants to hear. He's making songs that are really kind of sort of rushed and short and can be made really quickly, simple instrumental, simple lyrics, very basic hip hop songs that he knows the masses will love, but they just feel so empty to me.
I think it's spitting on the face of his fans.
Yeah.
Because he's not putting in that
He's not putting in as much effort as he did
you
back
can
in the day. And you can feel it, yes.
You can definitely feel it. Now, another thing that... okay, so Kids See Ghost, I wasn't a massive fan of.
A few songs I liked a bit better on Kids See Ghost.
It is better, though.
But not a lot.
Yeah. So another thing where I'm just so angry about is him with the whole promotion for Yandi. That's like... He promised it to be in September. Mm-hmm. Never came. It never came. He pushed it, and it hasn't been... it hasn't... Yeah, it's just... There's no confirmed release date on it now. Another thing that didn't anger me... It was... Yeah, I'm not angered by it, but it's more like... take that with a grain of salt. Is the tweet that he put out, "My eyes are now wide open and now realize I've been used to spread messages I don't believe in." So he's talking about, like, you know, his vocal support for Trump. "I'm distancing myself from politics and completely focusing on being creative." Now, look, man, you've done a lot of stuff to hurt the fan base like us. I don't know if I believe you.
Yeah, I don't really believe that.
You should have been doing this from the start. You never should have gone into politics.
Yeah. I just think back to, you know, when he started with all of that, like saying on the Ye vs. People song, like, ever since Trump won, it proved that I could be president. And like that sort of, for somehow Trump becoming president has completely bloated his ego and like what he thinks that he can achieve. And now he's like sort of, I don't know. I feel like he might be trying to, you know... I feel like he's trying to incorporate some Trumpisms into his life and trying to see, like, you know, what the impact of that might be on his fans. It actually sounds like a bit of a stretch when I say it, but I feel like, you know, he's said it himself before that, you know, he thinks that he can seriously be the president one day. And
I mean, yeah, I guess anything could happen now.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Like...
I don't know. I don't think he'd be a good president at all. I mean, like, for starters, he's unstable. And Trump is by no means stable. I'm not saying that Trump would be a better president. But, like, I don't want Kanye as president.
Yeah, it doesn't sit right. But I think... No, really for me, it's just the way that he's been treating, like... You know, his fans, his family, the people that he's making music with, the whole Drake thing, like, had a big impact on me as well. Like, I was thinking about all the other things
like the diss track you're referring to?
Yeah.
We'll talk
about
that in another segment.
Yeah, I really do want to. Yeah, I want to talk about that another time because I have a whole lot of issues with that, but especially like the way that, you know, Drake spoke about him with those other issues that we'll talk about in another time. I think that was really what hit me, is that he's manipulating artists around him and trying to use it for his own promotion, really.
Yeah.
And that would be less of a problem if the music he was making was a lot better than what it is.
Yeah, because then you'd have that redeeming factor.
Yeah.
But so far he's got no redeeming factors.
There's none.
In in my eye, at least.
Yeah.
Another thing that angered me, which I guess maybe I shouldn't be angry. I don't know how my feelings are, but I think they're generally leaning towards angry. It's the most recent tweet that he did, and it felt so good being on stage last night with my brother Kid Cudi. After performing again, I realized the new album, Yandi, I've been working on, isn't ready yet. That pisses me off, first of all, because he says I've been working on. So you're saying that you're still working on it, despite having said that it was supposed to come out for September. So that was just a false promise in the first place. And then he goes on, I'll announce the release date once it's done. Thank you for understanding. Like, dude, come on. Once again.
I'm really not surprised with that.
No, I'm not surprised at all.
I'm not surprised that it happens.
Letting us down more, man.
Although, like, can you really, like...
I hope it's better.
Is he believable? Like, I feel like there's some credibility to what he's saying. Like, he's saying, I'm not happy with the way this album is.
Yeah.
I know that we've put a release date to it, but I feel like I will not be proud of what we've done if we release it now.
That's entirely
so
fair.
Maybe, yeah.
No, you're right. It's
like,
just
it's
me...
believable, but yeah.
It's me wanting my cake and eat it too. So I want it now, but like I want the album now. But then I want the best. I want the best version of that album.
Yeah, I want the best version of it too. So I feel like a lot of it is going to come down to when that album releases and what it's going to sound like. Is he going to say with this whole 7-track, very shortened, very minimalistic, zero, next to no effort sort of music making, or is he actually going to, you know, take the time from after his performance and actually going to buff up what he's done and make it sound a lot better? Is he going to, because if he just comes out with a whole 7-track thing, I will be very angry, and I will not, and I will probably stop supporting him then and there. Like, I've given him more than enough chances already, but if he comes out with something very short and lackluster, then that's going to be a problem for myself, and I feel like for a lot of his fans as well. Yeah. And definitely for you too. Yeah. So if he releases something amazing, like Yandi is supposed to, you know, follow in Yeezus, which I'm guessing is supposed to be Kanye's version of experimental hip-hop.
Okay.
So
everything's experimental with him at the moment in his current
so
shape.
I guess So I guess if he comes out with something that's actually good and not outdated and, you know, absolutely thought out and not so short and, you know, not so fillerish, then yeah, I'm all for him moving an album back, and yeah, I'm not opposed to him doing that, just as long as he pulls through here.
Well, that is extremely profound, and it's also all the time we have. I realize we have been speaking for over 70 minutes now.
Yeah.
That's
decent.
actually a pretty good first.
Yeah, that's decent. Like,
first round. We have stuff to talk about, which is absolutely amazing. I was worried I might hit a block or something. Never happened, but I guess like we're talking about things that we're passionate about. So thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
Come round, sit down, have a beer, play this. I don't know, this conversation. Join in with the conversation of canned worms.
Yeah.
And just be sure to, subscribe to hear more. We're definitely going to try and make this more of a regular thing. I want Nick to be on as a regular host, I guess.
Maybe.
Talk about music and things like that. Talk about more than just music.
Definitely consider, other people and other voices as well, though.
Definitely, yeah. All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.